You've seen it. I've seen it. It's on coffee mugs and posters. It's tattooed on athletes' arms. It's the go-to verse for a pregame pep talk or a tough exam. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It feels like a shot of spiritual adrenaline, a promise of unlimited power and success. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just add Jesus, and you win. But is that what it really means? Let's be honest for a second. If you've been around faith for a while, you've probably felt a little flicker of doubt about this verse. You prayed to pass that test, and you failed. You prayed for your team to win the championship, and you lost. You prayed for that promotion, and someone else got it. You prayed for a sick loved one to be healed, and they weren't. In those moments, the verse can feel hollow. It can even feel like a lie. Did my faith just not work? Did I not believe hard enough? Was Christ not strengthening me? These are painful questions. They come from a deep place of disappointment, and that disappointment often comes from a misunderstanding of what Paul was actually saying. This verse is not a blank check for personal achievement. It's not a success mantra. It's something much deeper, much harder, and much more beautiful than that. To really get it, we have to do something we rarely do with popular verses. We have to put it back where it belongs. We have to look at the context. First, who is writing this? Well, the Apostle Paul. And where is he writing it from? This is the most important part. He's not writing from a corner office after a successful business deal. He's not on a victory tour. He's in prison. He is most likely under house arrest in Rome, chained to a guard. His future is uncertain. He could be executed. He is stripped of his freedom, his comfort, and his ministry partners. He is in a place of weakness, not a place of power. This changes everything. Imagine getting a letter from a friend who is locked up, facing a potential death sentence. And in that letter he writes, "I can do all things." You wouldn't immediately think he means he can break out of jail, become emperor of Rome, or magically make his chains disappear. You would understand he's talking about something else. He's talking about his ability to endure his current reality. Now let's look at the verses right before the famous one. Paul writes in Philippians 4, verses 11 and 12, "I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want." There it is. That's the context. The all things he is talking about isn't a list of future accomplishment. It's the full spectrum of human experience he just described: being in need, having plenty, being well-fed, being hungry, living in abundance, living in want. Paul is saying he has learned the secret to getting through all of it, the good times and the bad times, the highs and the lows, the feasts and the famine. So when he says, "I can do all things," he means I can endure being hungry. I can handle having plenty without becoming arrogant or dependent on it. I can get through this prison sentence. So I can face not knowing what tomorrow holds. I can remain faithful when everything is going wrong. I can remain humble when everything is going right. That is radically different from I can win the Super Bowl. The power he is talking about is not the power of achievement. It is the power of contentment. It is the power of endurance. The strength from Christ isn't about changing his circumstances. It's about Christ giving him the strength to be faithful within his circumstances, whatever they are. It's an internal strength, not an external power to manipulate the world to his liking. Let's break down the verse piece by piece with this new understanding. I can do. This is Paul speaking. But it's not a declaration of self-sufficiency. The whole point of the verse is that he can't do it on his own. If he could, he wouldn't need Christ's strength. This I is a dependent I. It's an I that has come to the end of its own resources. It's an I that has learned through suffering that his own strength is not enough. He has been beaten, shipwrecked, starved, and abandoned. He knows his own limits better than anyone. So when he says, "I can," it's not a boast. It's a statement of faith and a power outside of himself. All things. As we saw, this refers to all circumstances. It's the ability to face any situation with grace and faithfulness. Think about the hardest things we have to do in life. It's rarely about achieving a goal. It's often about enduring a reality. It's forgiving someone who hurt you deeply. It's choosing hope when you're staring at a medical diagnosis that terrifies you. It's being patient with a difficult child or an aging parent. It's getting out of bed in the morning when grief or depression feels like a physical weight. It's staying honest when lying would make your life so much easier. It's loving people who are hard to love. These are the all things. This verse is a promise of strength for the real, messy, painful parts of human existence. It's also for the good parts. The all things includes having plenty. How do you handle success without it corrupting you? How do you handle wealth with generosity and humility? How do you receive praise without letting it go to your head? That also takes a strength beyond ourselves. It's easy to lose our way in abundance, to forget our need for God. Christ's strength helps us remain grounded and grateful in the good times too. Through Christ. Here is the source of the power. It's not a vague, mystical force. It's not positive thinking. It's a person, Jesus Christ. The relationship Paul has with Christ is the pipeline for this strength. It's about being connected to him. Jesus used the metaphor of a vine and branches. The branches can only bear fruit if they stay connected to the vine. Apart from the vine, they can do nothing. So Paul is saying the same thing. His ability to endure comes from his living, moment-by-moment connection to Jesus. It's a strength that is supplied, not something he just has. It's a constant flow from the source. It's not a battery he charged up once. It's a power cord that stays plugged in. Who strengthens me? This is an active, ongoing process. The Greek word here implies a continuous infusion of strength. Christ is actively pouring his power into Paul. It's not that Christ gave him a superpower and sent him on his way. It's that, in the middle of the hunger, in the middle of the prison cell, in the middle of the uncertainty, Christ is present and providing the strength needed for that exact moment. It's a strength for today's troubles, not a guarantee about tomorrow's outcome. So, what does this mean for us, right here, right now? It means we need to rescue this verse from the world of motivational posters and bring it into the trenches of our real lives. It means that when you are facing a situation that feels impossible, this verse is for you. But it's not a promise that the situation will magically disappear. It's a promise that Christ will give you the strength to get through it. When you're dealing with chronic pain, the strength isn't necessarily to heal the pain, but to endure it with grace and without bitterness. When you're in a financial crisis, the strength isn't necessarily a promise of a winning lottery ticket, but the power to face the fear and make hard decisions with integrity. When you are grieving a profound loss, the strength is not to erase the grief, but to walk through it one day at a time without being completely consumed by it. This is actually much better news than the Superman version of the verse. Why? Because the Superman version fails us. It sets us up for disappointment. Life is hard. We don't always win. We don't always get what we want. People get sick. Relationships fail, plans fall apart. If our faith is built on the idea that Jesus is there to make us successful in all our endeavors, then our faith will crumble the first time we genuinely fail. But if our faith is built on the truth of Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, it's different. Our faith is not dependent on our circumstances. Our faith is a lifeline that provides strength within our circumstances. It means that even in our weakest, most broken moments, God is present and active. In fact, it is often in those moments that we experience his strength most profoundly. Paul talks about this elsewhere. He says he boasts in his weaknesses because when he is weak, then he is strong. But Christ's power is made perfect in weakness. Think about the pressure that the misunderstood version of this verse puts on us. I can do all things. It becomes a command, a burden. If I fail, it's my fault. I didn't have enough faith. But the true meaning of the verse lifts the burden. It says, you don't have to be strong enough. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to stay connected to the one who is. The focus shifts from my ability to his ability. It moves from my performance to his presence. This also protects us from the dangers of prosperity. Paul explicitly says he learned to be content with plenty. Why is that a secret he had to learn? Because wealth and comfort can be just as spiritually dangerous as poverty and suffering, if not more so. When everything is going well, it's easy to become self-reliant. We start to think we achieved it all on our own. We trust in our bank accounts more than we trust in God. We find our security in our stuff, not in our Savior. The strength Christ gives in times of plenty is the strength of humility. It's the strength to be generous. It's the strength to hold our possessions loosely. It's the strength to remember that everything we have is a gift and to use it for purposes beyond our own comfort. So how do we live this out? How do we access this strength? It's not about just repeating the verse like a magic incantation. It's about cultivating the same kind of relationship with Christ that Paul had. It's about dependence. It starts with honesty. We have to be honest about our weakness. We have to stop pretending we have it all under control. We come to God not with our strengths, but with our needs. We say, I can't do this. I am overwhelmed. I am scared. I am tired. I need your help. Prayer is the language of dependence. It is us admitting our own bankruptcy and looking to God's infinite resources. It also involves practice. Paul says he learned the secret of contentment. It wasn't automatic. It was a process. He learned it in shipwrecks and prisons and beatings. He learned it when he was hungry and when he was full. We learn it in the small frustrations of daily life. We learn it when we choose patience in a traffic jam. We learn it when we bite our tongue instead of saying something harsh. We learn it when we choose to trust God with a small worry. Each time we depend on his strength in a small thing, we are building the muscle of faith for the bigger things. Contentment is a discipline. It's the discipline of taking our eyes off our circumstances and putting them on Christ. It's about gratitude. It's actively looking for things to be thankful for, even when things are hard. Paul's letter to the Philippians, written from prison, is filled with the word joy. How is that possible? Because his joy wasn't based on his situation, it was based on his relationship with Christ, which couldn't be taken away from him even in chains. So, the next time you see Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, try to see it differently. Don't see a promise of worldly victory. See a promise of divine presence. Don't see a tool for your own ambition. See a lifeline for your deepest struggles. It's a verse for the person sitting by a hospital bed. It's a verse for the single parent who is exhausted and feels like they can't go on another day. It's a verse for the student staring at a mountain of debt. It's a verse for the person fighting an addiction that feels unbeatable. It's a verse for the person in a comfortable life who feels an empty longing for something more. It's a verse for the person who feels like a failure. It's a quiet, steady promise. It says that no matter what you are facing, whether it's the peak or the valley, you are not alone. And the one who is with you is able to supply the exact strength you need to be faithful right where you are. It's not about your ability to achieve, it's about your ability to endure, to trust, and to find contentment in any and every situation. And that power, that quiet strength, to simply keep going in faith is a far greater miracle than winning any game. It's the strength to truly live.